WEFM, the clean, fresh sound. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
Runs and rhythm.
You're not gonna let this go.
When you're feeling Carnival, yes, I feeling it. I can't lie. I'm feeling it with them soca releases. I am feeling it, and there is more to come.
I feel like you just listen on like 24/7. You
What
know,
soca? I can't. Let me not
the
say
songs,
that on
the new
air.
songs, the new songs, the new songs. So far. But anyways, welcome back to Activated Mornings. The number to call on WhatsApp 4579997. Of course, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at WFM99SVG. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all the other platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. That's Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Again, this is our open forum, our Talk to Me segment, where we talk about whatever it is that you don't want to talk about, and if you don't present,
You want to talk about this?
we will talk about it. But
Right.
no, if you don't present, we will have our own topics ready. The number to call is 4579997, like Christal said. Also, the number to WhatsApp 4579997, where you can also place calls. Now, we have been hearing about a number of instances. Well, I would say for the past couple months now, Boeing has had a lot of negative press lately. There have been investigations into Boeing over the last few years, with them cutting corners in the creation of their aircrafts, especially to compete with their main competitor, Airbus. There have been a few whistleblowers, persons working in factories, some persons higher up in Boeing that have come forward, and then coincidentally, some of them have been killed. Nevertheless, there have been more and more stories coming out about aircrafts having trouble, and Christal has one this morning for us.
So this is not like to scare you, and it doesn't also mean what is being alluded to. So the story is all over the internet, but this one I'm taking from BBC. So apparently, more than 140 travelers and crew members who were on board a flight hit by severe turbulence landed in Singapore on a relief flight earlier. I think it was, I'm trying to get the date because it's not showing up here. All right, but I looked it up. I saw it yesterday. But passengers on board SQ321, which is heading from London to Singapore, recounted scenes of absolute terror, with one passenger saying he saw a woman with an awful gash on her head. So unfortunately, one gentleman died, and they are suspecting that he died from a heart attack. 73-year-old British man, Geoff Kitchen, died from a suspected heart attack on board, while several others remain seriously injured. What happened? The Singapore-bound Boeing 777-300ER diverted to Bangkok following the mid-air incident. They experienced some turbulence, and all of a sudden the plane just dropped. And those persons who are not in their seat belts, of course, they were flung in different directions and different positions. Some of them hit their head; they got head concussions. The inside the plane was actually damaged, and yes, Ari, I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
But there was a bit of damage to the aircraft internally, and they had to divert persons who were heading to Australia. They couldn't go anymore. It's just such a scary thing to read about. Let me see if there's anything else within the story. Somebody said the thing I remember the most is seeing objects and things flying through the air. I was covered in coffee. It was incredibly severe turbulence. Have you ever experienced turbulence?
Yeah, but not severe turbulence.
I don't know if it was severe or what, because I don't remember. Maybe twice. So of the two instances, that one was pretty bad. It was on a flight to New York, the States, somewhere up there, many years ago. And I was pretty young, right? Young and naive, like preteen. So in my mind, when I started to feel the plane shake, and I was like, what is this? What are you young and foolish? I said, okay, my mind shaking. People started praying, Father God, and everybody like screaming at us. And I just sit down there. This is what I remember. It could have been different. I just sit down there like, okay, this is happening. And I do remember when I was leaving the flight attendant saying that's the worst turbulence they have ever experienced. And then at that point, I'm like, oh, so that was bad.
This isn't part of the ride.
Oh, it's not, but it's pretty scary to experience. But luckily it did not end up worse. So I mean, you can hit us up and let us know if you've ever had any experiences with turbulence.
Yeah.
Merciless boy.
I'm wondering if persons, in light of all these crashes that we're hearing in the news, are
I think no more than before. I get a little jittery.
yeah.
And you see them small planes.
But just Monday, you hear the Iranian president died in a helicopter crash. Now, persons are saying that since the US implemented sanctions on Iran 45 years ago, it had affected the aviation industry, and that might be the cause of the crash. But I have a friend, I was telling Christal off, I have a friend that was flying from DR to New York on Tuesday. And he said his flight just dropped. The pilots told the passengers that he thought he saw another airline, and to avoid crashing into it, he took a nosedive. Like, but isn't that what the radars and the maps and all that for, to tell you when an airline? Boy. I'm walking everywhere. What if I glide in? I buy a hand glide.
I will the United States or the UK.
Go up Sufre. We call those again the hand glide things. I'll go up Sufre with one and just, no, not the zip line, the one with the kind of like the triangular wings thing. Yes, I'll go up with one. I think it's a hand glide you call them.
But isn't that worse?
I will go up on my hand glide from Sufre and fly to wherever I need to go.
Isn't that worse?
I would be responsible for my own death. Think about flying, Christal. You're trusting two strangers that you've never met before in your life to say.
And you may never see again.
To take you to destination miles, thousands of miles away. And you're like, okay.
I'm terrified now.
You're not even supposed to speak to strangers on a day-to-day basis. You don't speak to strangers late night. Why you trusting them to take you places?
Do you know what I just remember as you were speaking about that? There was this flight, I think it was it the Malaysian flight? The conspiracy behind that? And how it just disappeared off the face of the earth with, I can't remember how many passengers. But there was
watch Manifest?
Honestly, it's the same thing. No? Is it?
No, Manifest is a series. A Malaysia thing happened for real.
No. I've never seen Manifest.
But basically the same thing. A plane disappeared and then reappeared, and no one but the crew. Nobody knew they were missing but the crew. So the crew alone had memory of life. No, I think the crew lost the memory. But either way, it was creepy. And every time I think about the Malaysian thing, I think about that.
Eek! Yeah, but I mean, these are not things that happen very often. I mean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines have had a couple instances. I mean, just this year we had one.
I think we have like in total 5, 4.
I feel like it's more than that, because I was looking at a story and they were mentioning some flights that crashed. And I completely forgot, or I didn't know that there was one that crashed in the northern side of the island, like Sufre area there.
Yes.
Like, wait, that increases. But I mean, it's not like an extremely common thing, as common as like you stand a chance, your chances of getting into an accident in a car far greater than like gosh.
Well, we should put up a billboard. A lot in Vincent that it is possible for plane crashes to happen, and we will make flying great again. Are you making a mockery of the NDP? I am making a mockery, not of the NDP, of the billboard.
But the billboard was put up by the NDP, so by extension,
I don't know, because I made mockery of the billboards at the Peace Memorial, French's Gate. I don't think
you like billboards.
I happen to enjoy billboards, you know. I happen to enjoy billboards. You have a car comedy.
Maybe you don't like political billboards then.
Yeah, I think that might be the problem.
Let's talk about it.
All right,
hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning again, Crystal and Harry.
Good morning.
Yes, turbulence. I experienced one in 2005. I was coming home to St. Vincent for my aunt's funeral,
Mhm.
and there was a midnight flight out of New York via Trinidad and Tobago, I should say. And we experienced it was thundering, lightning, and believe you me, it seemed as if that plane was going faster and faster. When you look out the window, all you can see is lightning flashing, raining. Everyone was speaking in tongues. I
Sorry.
swear, I've never heard so many pray in my life on one plane. And there was a lady from, well, she's a Trinidadian, but she lived in New York. She was my aunt's, I would say my aunt's daughter, best friend. She slept through that whole thing. When we got to Trinidad, she says she heard nothing. Man, I thought, man, am I going to die also here? I'm going to the funeral. Am I going to die here? It was an experience that I would not wish anyone to experience in their life. It was scary. All right.
All right, thank you. Like just listening to the story, I am terrified. Like I would fly, I would go, right? I would book my ticket, whatever. But I'll still be like in part terrified, especially if it rated. And at night time, like, oh gosh, boy, in my mind, but if I think I'm people can't find me, no boy. It's too dark for find me. Boy.
No, I don't remember having any of those thoughts flying. It's just like, that's why I love JetBlue, Tony. When you fly JetBlue, you forget everything.
You forget everything. I want to forget.
But someone says, did you know air travel is the safest way to travel?
That's why I'm saying the chances of you crashing in a car or motorbike greater than the plane actually disappearing or something. But the older you get, the more terrified I get. I know it's because, like, okay, so you live on your experience and you're seeing all these things in the media, 9/11, missing planes, da, 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 da. I'm like, Christ, like, let me go back in the shell. Hello, good morning. Look it.
Yes, good morning again. Good morning again. This is your captain speaking.
That's why I said look it.
Well, okay. Most advice to most of you passengers, just keep the lap belt on. Now, during my flying, I can always I wouldn't use the word manipulate, but I can be so nice to the check-in agent. I will always get the open seat. So if I'm flying on the 747, as the passenger, I would try to get the seat down in the back where there's 4 in the middle. So it could be me alone lying down for the long flight. Nobody else in that sector. So most persons on a flight, when they see that and they see you coming in a uniform, they will know that you're part of the airline and that you're dealing with the with the seat that's blocked and open. Well, they know probably that's for a crew member. Now, having the seatbelt on will prevent what happened on Singapore Airlines. That was nothing to do with the pilots themselves, because normally keep the lap belt on. Lap belt, shoulder belt, but for you, the passenger, it's lap belt. So even if you lie down in another seat or you see some seats empty, you're going to raise up the armrest and lie down in it, just put the lap belt around your waist. Cat is something that cannot be seen. I don't care how much. Yeah, clear air turbulence.
Oh, okay.
You don't see it. Now, to explain it here, it's going to be too long-winded. But if Ari pulls it up, clear air turbulence, that comes off of a warm jet stream. So to sit down here and try and explain all of that this morning, it's going to be too long-winded. You have to read it up yourself. But the pilot does not see it. They have developed instruments to pick it up. But the only thing that the instrument picks up is what you call the downdraft. That's the only thing really. And it could give you a length of when it's going to happen. No, you're going to get a lot of weather around the hurricane time. You're going to get turbulence. You're going to get a lot of wind. So your safety as a passenger is to keep the belt on. Secondly, I want to just touch on something here this morning. Ari, did you see what happened to the Iranian president and the foreign minister?
Oh, there's a foreign minister that died as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's about 4 or 5 of them. Now, the pundits on the radio, right, on YouTube, from the what you call these second news stations and things, the theorists and them, they're actually pulling up theories saying that the helicopter was tampered with. Now we're starting to the engine spluttered inside the fog. When that helicopter took off, if you saw the photo, the video, there was no fog around. Okay, we can't say nothing hanky-panky. I would not even attempt to say that. But all I can tell you is look at the conspiracy theories. Now, going back now, just stepping back a little bit. In 1986, the Mozambican president and the whole Mozambican government died. The Minister of Education, the Minister of Telecommunication and Works, the Minister of National Security, all of them dead on a plane. Why? I will tell you why. Let's say I am to go up to Argyle and I pay somebody in Argyle to switch off the lights. Okay? Even though they switch off the lights, during that time, the Soviet pilots that were flying the Mozambican pilot, the president, could land in the dark on the runway in Mozambique. What South Africa used to do is go over in the night and bust the wires, and Mozambique will fix it back the next morning. Because remember, South Africa, Mozambique, Namibia, and Angola. Remember, South Africa was fighting 4 wars since the 1960s to 1990. 4 wars simultaneously. So what they did, the Mozambique president was giving them trouble, and he just got surface-to-air missiles from Russia, and he threatened South Africa. So what the South Africans did was bait the aircraft and trick the pilot. There is something called TCAS, Terminal Collision Avoidance System. If the plane gets close to the mountain, it's going to warn the pilot. If the pilot takes too long to react, the plane is actually going to react itself. It's going to throw the throttles forward, and it's going to pull that stick right back in his chest and pitch up because the plane realizes going into danger. So that beeps. Now, that was beeping from 7,000, 4,000, 3,000 feet. And the pilots just ignored it because they realized something was wrong with the buzzer. The plane actually made a nice landing into the mountains, and the South African authorities took 9 hours to let the Mozambican authorities know that President Samora Machel and the whole Mozambican government died. You know what South Africa did? South Africa paid somebody in the Mozambican tower, and they cut the system. And they used a Land Rover with a beacon and lead the Land Rover towards the mountain. So the pilot following the beacon thought he following the beacon into Mozambique airport, not knowing that South Africa had the beacon on a mobile Land Rover leading him into a mountain. So that is what happened there. So that's the story there for today. So the whole thing is, guys, if you're flying, just try to keep the lap belt around.
I don't think the lap belt could
waist.
help in a situation like that.
It's generally
Yes, it could.
speaking. Okay.
Okay.
Father
Well,
can
hey, remember when you fly down, when it drop, right, you're going to fly up. Your stomach is going to go from the bottom of your stomach is going to go to your throat instantly. You may not vomit. If you're a custom aviator, you will know there's a drop. But all you will do is just raise up. But you wouldn't fly out the seat so because the lap belt have you. If you do not have the lap belt, you're likely to get cut on your head immediately. So that is something that you really, really got to really look into and try and be safe where that area is concerned. But overall, flying is safe. The only thing we have some issues with Boeing right now. I don't want to go into that too much.
Yeah, we don't have
but
time,
Boeing
so.
Boeing has whistleblowing problems, and the whistleblowers' truth does usually come to life. So anyway, take care, guys. Have a good day.
All right, same to you.
All right,
Thanks.
same
So
to you.
I guess now gotta wear helmets just in case. This is not to scare you, right? This is not to scare you. Because when you're traveling in vehicles, put on your seatbelts, you can't put on a seatbelt on a motorbike or a scooter, but you put on your helmet and your whatever, and so on. But he was right. Several persons died in that helicopter crash. Those persons are, of course, we mentioned the president of Iran, the foreign minister as well, Iran's foreign minister, as well as governor of Iran's East Azerbaijan province, excuse me if I pronounce that wrong, representative of Iranian supreme leader, the same East, the word that I just pronounced just there, head of Raisi's guard team, the helicopter pilot, the co-pilot, and flight technician. Quite unfortunate. Indeed. I said something.
So, Crumpler says that's an excellent catchphrase for JetBlue. When you fly with JetBlue, you forget everything. And I do not love JetBlue because of entertainment only. There's also food. Let's not forget
They
food.
entertain people.
JetBlue, they have some nice monitors there you can watch. You keep up to date with your shows. They have a really nice listen.
So you literally Netflixing and chilling there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You have enough space to fall asleep. So listen, JetBlue, take me. I will be your ambassador. Take me. But the time now is
no further comments.
The time now is 9:41 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's time for Community Dateline.